The corridors of power never look dangerous at first glance. They're quiet, polished, almost sterile. The kind of silence that makes you lower your voice without knowing why. I learned early that the real game never announces itself. It doesn't roar, it whispers. And most people never notice the whisper until it has already shaped them, pulled them, bent them. Some lose years of their lives without ever understanding the force that moved them. But the truth is simple. Power isn't taken. It's engineered, and it's engineered quietly. I remember standing alone in an office building long after midnight. The lights were off except for one flickering panel above me. On a desk nearby lay a resignation letter, unsigned but stained with the weight of a man who finally realized he'd been played. He didn't lose a war. He didn't lose a fight. He lost a game he never realized he was part of. And that's the part most men never see. The invisible game, the slow pressure, the shaping of perception, the small deliberate shifts that turn your steps into someone else's design. You don't feel the trap when it closes. You feel it when you try to move. Manipulators don't push, they tilt. They tilt the room so subtly that you think you're walking on your own. They shape the question so you believe the answer was yours. They smile while taking ground from beneath your feet. And it's in the moments you overlook, when you're tired, distracted, seeking approval, that their hand is already guiding your decisions. I once watched a man stare at his phone for almost an hour. A single message kept him frozen, not because it was aggressive, but because it twisted his loyalty. "I thought you'd be on my side," it read. Just that. 7 words. But 7 words designed to corner him, to make him prove himself, to make him chase someone else's validation. That's the fingerprint of manipulation, the shift of weight from their shoulders onto yours. Quiet, clean, surgical. And yet, as old as these tactics feel, they aren't new. Centuries ago, Machiavelli wrote about the human heart like a mechanic writes about gears and pistons. He understood that people fear loss more than they value fairness, that a man will betray his own logic before he betrays his own desires. That power flows not from volume, but from clarity. The world changes, human nature rarely does. I used to think these ideas belonged in ancient palaces or political courts. But the modern world is just a renovated version of the same theater. Swap the crown for a job title. Swap the throne for a conference room. The dynamics stay the same. Take the workplace predator, the type who steals credit with a smile so warm you almost thank him for it. He doesn't shout. He doesn't threaten. He waits. He observes. And when the moment is right, he moves in a way that feels natural, inevitable. You walk into a meeting believing you're presenting your work. You walk out wondering why everyone thinks it was his idea. That's not an accident. That's not luck. That's intention. Conceal your intentions, Machiavelli warned, because the first strike is information. Most people speak to be understood. Manipulators speak to direct. When you understand that difference, the whole room changes. And there comes a moment, a quiet, cold one, when you realize that power and control are not the same thing. Control is loud. Control is reactive. Control is fragile. But power, real power, is silent. It sits in the background. It doesn't chase. It doesn't flinch. It doesn't beg to be seen. I've sat in a parked car during a rainstorm, windshield fogged, the world blurred behind droplets, and felt something click into place. Power is not about having the upper hand. It's about not needing to use it. It's about knowing who you are when the world tries to pull you into its storms. It's a kind of stillness, a kind of sovereignty. Most have never tasted it. But the path starts simple. Reveal less. Not because you want to manipulate, but because mystery protects you. When everyone knows your motives, your habits, your soft spots, they don't even need to attack. They only need to lean. Predictability is weakness. It lets others rehearse you. And a man who can be rehearsed is a man who can be controlled. I felt it myself during arguments. That moment when I wanted to explain everything, defend everything, justify myself. But the most strategic thing I ever did was say nothing. Silence isn't surrender. Silence is oxygen. It clears the smoke. And it shows you who panics first. Mystery is leverage. But mystery alone isn't enough. You have to see the desires moving people, Because every person is a locked door, and their desires are the handle. Some crave praise, some crave validation, some crave certainty, some crave proximity to power. And the mistake we make is thinking they want what we want. They rarely do. People will walk willingly wherever their desires lead them. The danger comes when those desires can be used against them, when their hunger becomes someone else's leverage. If you can read the motive behind a behavior, you can see the entire pattern unfolding before it happens. And once you see the pattern, there's no unseeing it. Then there's the next truth. People defend their own ideas, not yours. That's why the manipulator never pushes his agenda. He nudges, he plants, he lets you say it out loud. And once you say it, you own it, you protect it, you justify it. It becomes yours. Influence often walks in wearing the mask of autonomy, but awareness is armor. When you understand how easily people confuse their thoughts with the thoughts placed in front of them, you learn to slow down, to question, to check the source before you follow the impulse. Because clarity is power, and nothing is more dangerous than a man who thinks slowly in a world that moves too fast. Yet the deepest truth I've learned is this: the man who cannot be emotionally moved cannot be manipulated. Emotional sovereignty is the final shield. When you no longer react to pressure, when guilt doesn't bend you, when validation doesn't bait you, when fear doesn't steer you, the entire game loses its grip. I once sat at a kitchen table at dawn, phone buzzing with a message crafted to provoke me. I felt the old instinct, to respond, to defend, to fix the narrative, but instead, I let the silence stretch. And in that silence, I realized something. The moment you control your emotional triggers, you control your world. You stop being a puppet in someone else's play. The world doesn't want you calm. Calm men are hard to move. Calm men cannot be claimed. And that's why emotional sovereignty is rare, because it requires sitting with yourself in uncomfortable quiet, sharpening your awareness until you see the strings before they tighten. From that stillness, you build what I call a reality shield. It isn't aggression, it isn't coldness, it's clarity. It's the habit of reading motives before words. It's the discipline of silence when emotion wants to speak. It's the ability to pause long enough for the truth to appear. It's knowing that not every reaction deserves your energy. Not every invitation deserves your presence. Not every battle deserves your sword. It's the morning you rise before the sun, open a notebook, and write down the things that once controlled you, only to realize they don't anymore. It's the moment you respond thoughtfully instead of instantly. It's the way you hold your posture when the world tries to shake it. This is the quiet strength manipulators cannot use. And once you begin living like this, something shifts. You walk differently, you speak differently, you choose differently. You no longer drift, you no longer chase, you no longer cling. You move through the world awake, not reactive, observing, not absorbing, aware, not afraid. Power is not dominance, it's awareness. It's the ability to see the board clearly before anyone else even realizes they're playing. It's the calm refusal to be steered. It's the grounded sense that your life, your choices, your mind belong to you, not to the people trying to shape them. And if you choose to keep going, if you want to understand the deeper blueprint behind how power moves, breathes, hides, then you already know where the next chapter waits.